Rain lashed against the sliding glass door, turning the garden into a blurred watercolor of green and gray. Inside, Goyo sat rigid, the black nylon harness dug into his fur, the leash trailing behind him like a heavy chain. He clawed at the clip, ears flattened, staring at his reflection, just a house cat, tethered and small. He slumped, his tail wrapping tight around his paws. A sudden gust of wind blew the patio door open a crack. The storm howled. A laundry basket in the corner tipped over, spilling a pile of the boys' toys. A red scrap of satin and a black plastic mask slid across the floor, stopping at Goyo's feet. He sniffed the fabric. He pawed it. The red satin draped over his shoulders. He nudged the mask. It slipped over his eyes. Goyo looked at the glass again. He didn't see a pet. He stood up on his hind legs, balancing perfectly. He shifted his weight, testing his footing. He wasn't Goyo the house cat anymore. He was ready. Crack. Outside, a branch snapped on the old oak tree. A nest tipped. A tiny featherless cardinal tumbled down, landing with a splash in a rapidly rising puddle. Goyo didn't hesitate. He bolted through the open crack in the door. The wind whipped his red cape violently. Mud splattered his gray fur. He skidded to a halt near the puddle. The baby bird chirped weakly, struggling against the rising water. From the shadows of the hedges, a pair of yellow eyes appeared. The neighbor's hulking bulldog, Brutus. The dog stepped forward, sniffing the helpless bird, drool dripping from his jowls. Goyo stepped between the giant beast and the tiny bird. He didn't hiss. He didn't arch his back in fear. Instead, Goyo dropped low. He planted his back paws firmly in the mud, circling his front paws in the air with slow, fluid precision. He exhaled a sharp breath. Brutus lunged, jaws snapping. Goyo pivoted on a single claw. He sidestepped the massive head with the grace of water flowing around a rock. As Brutus stumbled past, Goyo leaped, twisting midair. He landed lightly on the bulldog's broad nose, balanced on one paw like a statue. Brutus shook his head wildly. Goyo backflipped off, landing in a perfect crouch. The dog barked frustrated and charged again. Goyo waited. At the last second, he rolled onto his back, caught the dog's snout with his hind legs, and used the bulldog's own momentum to flip the beast over his head. Thump! Brutus landed on his side in the wet grass, confused and dizzy. Goyo sprang up instantly. He stood on one leg, the other knee raised high, front paws extended in a crane stance, claws unsheathed and glistening in the lightning flash. Brutus scrambled up, took one look at the masked warrior, whined, and retreated into the bushes. Goyo broke his stance. He turned to the bird. Gently, using his nose, he nudged the chick out of the water and onto the dry stones under the shelter of the patio table. Above, the mother cardinal swooped down, landing beside her baby, chirping a melody of relief. The rain slowed to a drizzle. A single ray of sunlight pierced the clouds. Goyo climbed atop the garden wall. He stood on his hind legs once more, paws on his hips. The wind caught his cape, billowing it out majestically behind him. He bowed solemnly to the garden, no longer a prisoner of the indoors, but the Grandmaster of the backyard.